says Fuller. What's Fuller's grave doing here? Ugh!
You pussy. I'm gonna get you.
We'll see about that. What the hell was that? Did I see a ghost? Huh? Mom?
Darren, is that you?
Mom, what? But you're
not my son anymore.
But I... What the... I don't believe it. Ah! Ah! What a crazy dream. What was that? Hello? Ah!
Were you having a nightmare?
What? Who are you?
I'm Ralph.
My name's Darren. Where am I? Is this the old academy?
Mr. Bubby and I live here.
What are you two doing here? You and Mr. Bubby?
We live here.
You've already said. But, is there nowhere else you could live?
No, the evil house where we used to live doesn't exist anymore, and we didn't want to go back there anyway.
Could it be that you once lived in Sir Robert's sanatorium?
And Mr. Bubby too. He protects me and tells me what I have to do.
It's good to have a friend.
And Mr. Bubby says that all the time too.
Isn't it dangerous here? The ruins look like they're in danger of collapsing.
Sometimes stones do fall down when it's stormy and there's thunder, or if the wind's blowing wildly. But then we always hide anyway. Mr. Bubby is scared of thunderstorms.
Are there good hiding places here then? Maybe some hidden rooms or passages?
We always hide ourselves here in our house. Nothing can happen to us here.
Yeah, sure. Did you see the big fire at the lighthouse?
Yeah, I like fire.
You wouldn't have liked this one.
Angelina was here. She came, and then she went, and then she was here again, and then there was someone wearing a white mask, and then there was fire.
Hold on. You know Angelina?
Yes, she was here a lot.
So, there was Angelina and a man with a mask, and then there was a fire?
Yes. First we hid ourselves because it was thundering, and the bad man wasn't supposed to see us. But then the fire had shone so nice, we just looked. I like fire.
Yeah, and then?
Then the fire went out. The rain put it out. Then you came. You were calling out loudly, but I didn't know what. Then you fell down and stopped moving. Mr. Bubby said I ought to get you into the dry.
Tell Mr. Bubby thanks from me. That was a good idea.
Mr. Bubby says, my pleasure. We don't often get visitors here.
What happened then?
Then the police arrived. We don't like them. They wanted to take us away to here. Then along came a really nice black car. It looked a lot different from the police cars or the cars we sometimes see in the village. It looked kind of old, but it was very nice and shiny. But it wasn't there for long.
Did you see who was sitting in it?
No.
You said that Angelina was here quite often.
Yeah?
When was the first time she was here?
I don't know.
Approximately. Around about... What do you reckon?
100 years ago?
Huh. And what did she do here?
She had a very careful look around at everything, and then she found our house. She said she was looking for something. A door that led under the ground.
When she was here yesterday and disappeared for a short while, where was that?
I don't know. Mr. Bubby wanted to make himself nice for her and didn't look.
Mr. Bubby wanted to make himself nice for Angelina?
I think Mr. Bubby was a bit in love with her, but he could never bring himself to tell her.
And now, it's too late.
Maybe he'll tell her next time, when she comes to visit us. You think she'll come and see us again soon?
That's, I don't know, Ralph. Perhaps. You know Black Mirror Castle?
I've never been there. I think there are bad people that live there. Sir Robert lived there, and he was bad.
Yes, he was.
Our friend Samuel used to know the castle.
Samuel Gordon?
He used to help me and Mr. Bubby. I liked him. But then when they shut down Sir Robert's wicked house, they said that Samuel was a wicked person as well. I don't believe that. Sometimes you do things that are wrong, but you don't mean to be wicked. Wicked voices make you do it, said Mr. Bubby.
I need to get going, Ralph.
See you.
This shed looks anything but livable. On the other hand, Ralph will be better off here than in a sanatorium. You can't begin to imagine what that crazy Robert had done with the inmates. Not exactly what you'd call a cozy home sweet home. The corrugated iron will keep them. A weird stone head. It looks rather like a troll. That doesn't seem to have any practical purpose. The staircase leads to nothing. It must have fallen down at some point. I think it's an elder bush, but I'm not 100% sure. The branches are very long and straight, too. Very typical for them. It's pretty difficult to break off branches like these when the bush is full of sap. They have a thick, flexible bark and fibrous inner that you simply can't snap. It's pretty difficult. They have a thick... This must have been a grand hall. Maybe with a gallery. There's the remains of the first story. The raven flew out of a crack in the rock. There might be a cavity behind that. These stones look a bit weird somehow. They don't look like they've all fallen like this just by chance. It looks like they've been stacked up. There's a little stone figure. could be a chess piece. Hey, what's this then? It's a little stone figure. Looks like a chess piece. It's the queen. A solid stone slab. Hey, look, how can I shift this slab? How can I... A heavy stone pedestal. There are 4 recesses. I can see some remaining bits of black and white coloring. If this is supposed to be some kind of chessboard, then the pieces are conspicuous in their absence. A stone pedestal. I heard a quiet click. I still haven't got all the pieces. Nothing's happening. I still haven't got all the... Hello, Ralph?
Hi, Dad.
Do you, by any chance, know anything about the chess pieces that are hidden somewhere around here?
What are chess pieces?
Little figures that are kind of kings, queens, castles, and knights. They're usually small and made out of wood. But I'm looking for bigger ones made from stone.
Mr. Bubby found one like that. It's a horse, a really nice one.
Hey, cool. Would you lend it to me?
It's Mr. Bubby's toy.
And would Mr. Bubby lend it to me?
Mr. Bubby plays with the horse. If you take it away, then he'll have nothing left to play with.
I understand. But what if I brought him something else to play with? What is he like playing with?
With horses?
And, what else?
Mr. Bubby likes music. Maybe you can get him something he can play music on. You can get him a piano.
That could be a problem. I saw a raven there a short while ago.
We don't like him. He's always screeching and flapping, and he steals things.
He steals things.
He once stole the lid off one of our cans.
He likes shiny things.
Me too. And it was our lid.
About the horse...
Have you got anything?
No.
Mr. Bubby would like something.
Okay. I need to get going
See
now.
you.
Smudged note. It says, the king went north, the pawn went south, the queen... I can hardly read the rest. And the knight to the... something ST. I can still see her. Charred body hunched so unnaturally. Terrible. I'll never be able to forget this image my whole life long. There's a knife sticking out of the wooden beam. It looks like someone's been carving into the beam. What's that amongst the stones? A chess piece. The king. I wonder who put the chess piece there. It can't have been sitting there between the stones long. It's not been weathered at all and it looks bright. A card from the Willow Creek area. It's marked with, I want to find out what Angelina was looking for. The five, those when I can all avenge. They look like they've been hanging there. They sound eerie. I'll cut a little piece out of a branch. I saw that on TV once. If you hit the bark with a hard object, like with a knife, then the bark loosens itself from the wood. Then, with just a bit of pressure, you can push the piece of wood out of the bark. Just cut a slit in the bark here, push the piece of wood back in a little, and there you go. A whistle. Ralph's gonna like the whistle. By pushing the piece of wood. Hello? Ralph?
Hi, Darren.
Hey, Ralph! Have a look at what I got here.
Wow! That's much better than a piano.
And smaller, too. Now, can I just borrow the horse for a short while if I give you the whistle for it?
Okay.
The words on the note are partly the king went north, the pawn went south, the queen... I can hardly read the rest. And the knight to the... I heard a quiet click. Nothing's happening. I heard a quiet click. I heard a quiet click. Phew. The right arrangement of the I'll just leave it there. When Mr. Bubby has had enough of his whistle and wants his horse back, then... The damn bird again. He's got his own private way into this room. I'd say the raven pecked it apart. Maybe he was looking for something edible, or more sparkling things. Some clothes. They really could have belonged to Angelina. And here, a little book. Is that... That's gotta be Angelina's diary. And here, there's a folded note in the book. But one thing at a time. What's she written on the last pages? Tuesday, I found him.
He's called Darren Michaels, or rather, That's the name that they have given him, if I'm right about my suspicions. He's very nice. I don't think he has the faintest idea about the whole thing. I wanted to speak to Mrs. Michaels, but nobody came to the door when I rang the bell. There seems to be a man following me, even before my departure. I had the feeling of being watched. What does the man want from me? Evening. Mrs. Michaels has had a terrible accident. She's lying in hospital with severe head injuries. I wonder if she had already fallen when I rang the bell. Oh, God, I'm imagining all sorts of horrible things. Wednesday. I've been arrested for the murder of a man whom I barely know. I was led into a trap. A voice told me over the phone that they had information about Darren. When I arrived at the store, I discovered the body and was promptly arrested. I think my pursuer is behind this. Or am I being paranoid? Who can have an interest in finally ending all of this? Afternoon. Darren is so sweet the way he's really gone to town to help me. He's so ready to help. He's a bit of an oddball, but I like him a lot. Doesn't matter if he is who I think he is. I've found a good friend. Or maybe more. Later. Reginald Boris. That's my pursuer's name. There's no doubt anymore. He's here to hinder my search, to stop what I'm doing. Who has sent him? Evening. It's him. I know it now. He brought a little casket with him on our first date. Inside there was a photo of his mother and the servant Bates. They were standing in front of the gate at Black Mirror Castle. I recognized it immediately. He simply has to be a Gordon. His mother had an affair, and after the fire she went to the USA. But I don't have the guts to tell him. His mom's lying in the hospital and he has enough to worry about. On the other hand, I've got to find out who my new adversaries are. What might happen if I were to take Darren back to Willow Creek and in doing so, bring him into danger? I couldn't forgive myself for that. I'll go back on my own and start my own investigations into who our enemies are. I'll tell Darren everything at some point.
Like I thought. Angelina knew more than she let on the whole time, and she put herself in danger to protect me. It all fits together. The payments from Willow Creek, there being no pictures of my father, and me not being able to remember him. There was no car crash. There was a fire in the castle, and my mother was injured then. She was sent to the USA and received a pension, or maybe hush money. The only thing I don't understand, what is it all about? What did Angelina want to achieve, and what does the Order want to prevent? Most importantly, what have I got to do with it? Dear Darren, I haven't been completely honest with you. That's Angelina's diary. She describes her time in Maine in it. There's nothing before all that. Tuesday, I found him. This note was stuck in the diary. Darren, I hope this letter finds you.
I can't tell you just how sorry I am that I wasn't honest with you right from the start. I've underestimated the danger from the Order for way too long. I've been playing a little game, and now it looks like I've lost. The Order's agents are creeping through the ruins, and it's only a matter of time until they discover this room. I'm going to hide the pieces, and I'm going to try to break through to get to the village. Perhaps I can at least keep them away from the gate. Should you be reading this letter, then I haven't made it. And so, I ask you to complete my work. You don't believe in the curse, I know that. How could you, though? You were so far away. But I came across some illustrations during my studies, and it's all true. Terrible things happen here every 12 years. And that's been going on for centuries. Maybe it's mass suggestion, or maybe it's some kind of radiation, or maybe it's a curse. Call it what you like, but it has to stop. The key to all evil is hidden beneath the Academy, a chamber which was used centuries ago for some kind of dark rites. There are also the soul keys which Samuel Gordon discovered 12 years ago. Destroy them. Destroy everything. And if it's all just a fantasy in the people's heads around here, take away the reason for them to fear. But guard yourself against the Order. It is an occult sect which I had believed to have died out. A great mistake. It still exists. They mess about with dead bodies and they want your blood. According to the legend, only a male Gordon can open the cult's chamber, touch the soul keys, and carry out the dark rituals. That is why I was looking for you. I believe that you are the last of the Gordons. You are in the greatest danger, as long as the keys and summoning chamber are not destroyed. Then the Order will hunt you down to the very ends of the earth. Up until now, I haven't managed to penetrate the catacombs. To open the gate, you need to have the mosaic tiles. I have only found one. It's in my rucksack. The other two are hidden somewhere within the castle. The only clue I have to the hiding place of one of the other tiles is a name: Maximilian Mortimer Gordon. You have to return to Black Mirror Castle and look for the mosaic tiles there. The danger is great, since I'm sure that most of the castle's residents are also members of the Order, so don't make yourself known to them. It's the only chance of getting the mosaic pieces, and the only chance, perhaps, to discover who your father is. It's all so awful, Darren. It's as though I've opened Pandora's box. I wanted to do something good, and in doing so have brought you into terrible danger. I hope that everything will come good in the end, and that we too can start afresh together. With love, Angelina.
A curse? All of this because of a curse. The blood of the Gordons. An occult secret society which like to call up the devil in person. It's all so crazy. How can you kill folks in the name of such a fantasy? How can anyone get so caught up in this superstitious baloney that they kill for it? But Angelina's right. Bizarre as these people's motives might be, they're gonna keep on going as long as they can see a chance of achieving their goal. They've gotta be stopped. And I'm gonna stop them. Angelina's death shouldn't have been completely in vain. An old-fashioned oil lamp. This place must have been even spookier. I'd rather leave it with the piece of mosaic's not in the rucksack, and there's nothing. But I should check inside the sleeping bag. The piece of mosaic's not. But I should check. Nothing. I think I know. Not only have I got to get the two pieces from the castle, I've also got to retrieve another from a feathered thief. The gate won't move, and I can't see a latch or a keyhole. So the Raven got in here. There's a big hole in the roof. A very lovely theme. A stone plinth. The pieces of mosaic that Angelina wrote about fit in the 3 grooves on each side of it. A stone plinth. The piece of mosaic's and the raven. Black Mirror. I knew my path would one day lead here. I'll find out who my father is, find the mosaic pieces, and make sure that Angelina's death hasn't been in vain. But I gotta be damn careful. According to Angelina, at least one of the castle's residents is a member of the Order. Maybe I can find out who that is. There's a really thick branch lying in the undergrowth. It's damp, but not rotten. It must have broken off the tree quite recently. Maybe in the storm yesterday. It seems they're a bit more relaxed with nudity. Alright. It seems they're a bit. Alright. An electric doorbell? Nothing. Maybe it's broken. Huh. Empty. The stone figurine. Castle looks real gloomy. The overgrown garden. The entire estate is probably enclosed by this fence. I wouldn't even have dreamed of standing in front of this gate. It looks just like the photo. It almost looks like time stood still here. The gate is bolted. The two stone figures. The braces on this door are badly weathered. The two have turned to rust and aren't even connected to the door frame at the bottom. Using this branch as a lever should work. That's it.
Hey! How did you get in here?
The gate was open.
Really? I'll wring that brat's neck. I've told her 100 times that the gate must always stay closed if we don't want yobbos snooping around the grounds.
If you're referring to me, I'm not a yobo. I'm a policeman.
You don't say. Then you're sure to have ID. Can I help you, sir?
I've told Mr.
Lewis, good sir. To you, it's just Lewis. You'll take care of this bit. Wonderful. You will have to excuse our gardener, sir. How can I help you?
My name is Falk. I'm investigating a murder that occurred at the lighthouse last night.
I heard about that. Terrible. But tell me, your accent.
I'm part of an exchange program. The United States, Canada, and Great Britain exchange detectives to learn about the various investigative methods. Sherlock Holmes meets Dick Tracy, you might say.
If the government deems it necessary. What about Inspector Collier? Shouldn't he be accompanying you?
He's, sick today.
Ah, I see. He is getting on a bit. How can I help you?
Phew. A witness saw an unusual black car at the crime scene.
What do you mean by unusual? The Gordon family does have a classic 30s English automobile in its possession.
Unusual enough. Were you up on the cliff with the car this morning?
The ladies haven't driven out anywhere today. And I also don't think that Lewis has taken the car either. Ask him. He looks after the car. Mainly when he should be looking after the garden.
This Lewis has a bit of an abrupt manner.
He's Welsh.
Uh-huh.
He came with his mistress, Lady Eleanor, when she moved in here after the death of her husband. He used to look after her castle's gardens in Wales. He used to have a different kind of work ethic there.
Lady Eleanor owns a castle in Wales?
She does. Her husband, Sir Richard, was killed in a dreadful accident a few years back. She moved here soon after that.
Interesting. This is an amazing property.
Indeed. It's a place steeped in history.
Unfortunately, all that history often had plenty to do with blood, death, and misfortune, from what I've heard.
The Gordon family was often put to the test. That's true.
Forgive me for putting it like this, but the castle doesn't make the best impression.
I don't understand what that has to do with your inquiry, Mr. Falk.
What can you tell me about Samuel's ghost, which some of the tourists believe they've seen?
Indeed, there are a few tourists who believe they have seen him. But nothing unusual has happened for 12 years now, apart from the castle being virtually besieged by tourists every now and again.
But not anymore.
No. Although, only yesterday there was a married couple who came to see the castle and its alleged ghost. Since they asked me politely in advance, I let them have a look around the garden. But did they find what they wanted? I very much doubt it. There are no ghosts here.
You said ladies.
Lady Victoria, she owns Black Mirror Castle, and Lady Eleanor is a relative of hers from Wales. The ladies are the last of the Gordons. They reside here in the castle.
Can I have a word with them?
I would prefer it if you didn't disturb them. Lady Victoria is not a young woman.
No harm in a few words, surely.
Whatever there might be to discuss, you can also discuss with me. I've been involved with the Gordons for more than 70 years. I can tell you everything you may wish to know.
This woman has been murdered. Did you know her?
Are you sure, sir?
Sadly, yes. Her name is Angelina Morgan. You seem to recognize her.
Come with me, sir. We'll have to show this to the ladies.
Fine.
One moment, please, sir. I'll announce your arrival.
What was that in the mirror?
Mr. Falk, their ladyships are ready to receive you.
Mr. Falk, is everything all right?
Yes, thank you. I didn't sleep well. Lady Victoria? Lady Eleanor. My name is Inspector Falk. I'm investigating a murder case.
Bates said you had a photograph of the victim.
That's right. Do you know her?
What's her name?
Angelina Morgan.
I don't know her.
If that's everything.
I do have a few more questions.
It's all right, Bates. Of course, we will be glad to cooperate with the police. Drive to the village and do the job I asked you to do. I'm sure the inspector will keep us company.
Very well, Mom.
So, how can we help you?
You seem to be extremely keen to see the picture of the dead woman, and Bates had a noticeable reaction when I showed him the picture. You are sure that you don't know this young lady?
Quite sure. Only we are concerned. The murder took place quite close to here.
Not the first.
Sadly, you're quite right. It's now. It's 12 years ago, you understand? So many years. And now there's another murder.
Tell me about the series of murders 12 years ago.
No. It doesn't have a thing to do with this crime.
Leave all that alone. Please confine yourself to this murder case. This is quite bad enough already.
May I look around the castle? I'd very much like to talk to Lewis one more time.
Of course. We have nothing to hide. Stay as long as you like. Only please keep away from the private rooms.
That goes without saying, ma'am. Your butler Bates seems to be looking after you.
He has been our butler for decades. He is something like the decent soul of this house. He sees it as his highest duty to do all he can for my well-being. Also, even if he neglects his own welfare.
Is he ill?
Yes, I fear he is. We've often suggested that he sit with us and enjoy some peace and quiet for a while, but he always strictly denies that he can no longer fulfill his obligations. We've recently taken on domestic help to at least help him out a little.
I'll go and take a bit of a look around.
Of course.
A basket of knitting gear. May I borrow a piece of thread, Lady Eleanor?
Some thread?
Yes, please. About 2 yards?
Certainly.
Thanks. Good. Thread is always useful. I took some of the tear-proof stuff. You've only been living here a few years, Lady Eleanor?
That's right. I didn't want to live alone in a big house after my husband died.
So you moved in with your relatives in Willow Creek and brought Lewis with you?
Lewis was our gardener in Wales. He is sometimes a bit difficult, but I didn't have the heart to lay him off. I offered him to come with me and look after the garden here.
Which he doesn't seem to do.
Well, he didn't cope very well with having to leave his garden and his home in Wales.
Tell me about your estate in Wales.
It's a lovely castle. Not as big or old as this one. I haven't been back since we left. I'm afraid it's probably in a terrible condition. And the marsh has probably spread even further. It's terrible. I couldn't stomach seeing our home like that. We had many happy years there.
When did your husband die?
A few years ago, Sir Richard, my husband, was a scientist. He did his experiments in a summer house. I used to joke that he would blow himself up one day. I didn't really believe that that's exactly what would happen.
I'm willing to bet that I was imprisoned in Lady Eleanor's castle. It all fits together perfectly, and the phone call would suggest that it wasn't chosen at random. Did she make her old estate available for the Order to use? Lewis is here of his own free will. I don't understand why he doesn't give this new life a go.
You are young, Mr. Falk. You don't know what it's like having to leave your home behind you. Lewis's roots are in Wales. A tree withers without roots.
Why doesn't he go back then?
I've suggested it to him. I promised him a small amount of money to start him off. First, I thought he would do it, but then he stayed after all.
Strange.
He's a complicated man. He's been working for me for over 20 years, but I still don't have the feeling that I actually know him. I think he blames me for his unhappiness. He only ever speaks to me if it can't be avoided, and I can see that hate in his eyes.
What kind of research was Sir Richard doing?
He had very diverse interests. After the tragedy 12 years ago, he was mainly concerned with, well, with blood.
With blood?
He was convinced that the Gordons' blood must somehow be different from that of other people. I think he was looking for a scientific explanation for all of the misery that has accompanied the family for hundreds of years.
A curse in a test tube.
Insanity is hereditary, as you may know. Why not misfortune?
Or the misfortune is only the result of the hallucinations. That explains what Angelina was looking for in Wales. She was hoping that Richard had found out something interesting before he died. I'm going to have another look around. Goodbye, Lady Eleanor.
It's nice to see another face in this house.
The castle is very beautiful, but, well, It's
slowly falling down, you mean? I'm afraid you're right. And it's not the only thing here that's falling down.
How do you mean that?
The Gordon line. We've lived here in this area for centuries and have shaped it like no one else. Our family is going to die out, Mr. Falk. Soon, there won't be any more Gordons. And the worst thing is, I am no longer even sure that this will be a loss.
You mean because of...
Because of the misery for which some of us are responsible. Yes.
I've just realized that if Angelina's right, then this woman is my grandmother. She doesn't seem to know anything about her grandson. Or maybe she does. Her look was somehow strange. I'll go and take a bit.
Of course.
Huh. The plant hasn't been... A small fire for... The old ladies here seem to be a lot tougher than back in the States. Over there it'd be at least 82 degrees. I'll have time to... Jeez. Now that's a friendly-looking face. That's how I imagine a bloodthirsty Russian Tsar would look like. Wild eyes, evil glare, and expensive clothes. I'm quite sure that he didn't earn the bling on his fingers and round his neck through hard work. I'd say something like a knight or a nobleman. And judging by his clothing, he must have been around 100 years ago. He seems somehow familiar. Probably an ancestor of the Gordons. No. Really not. A huge metal globe. There's an ornate fence or some kind of barrier around the globe. No idea what that's for. There's an ornate fence. There's some letters engraved in the stone plate on the globe's pedestal. There are names. A whole series of them. Wait a minute. The first name is Maximilian Mortimer Gordon. That's the name from Angelina's notes. Does that mean... I can't hear anything. But the stone slab could be the lid of a secret compartment in the globe's pedestal. And it would be an ideal hiding place for a piece of mosaic. I'm almost certain there's a secret compartment hidden behind the stone slab. But how can I get to it? There's an ornate fence or some kind of... The knife would bend before moving the slab. The chair looks inviting, but it's too early. Why are the only candles burning here? I think that the picture has turned out very well. It looks as though something's been painted over here at the top, directly above Samuel and Catherine's generation. Unfortunately, it's been painted over. That's the Gordon's family tree, almost the same as the one in Wales. That's the Gordon's family tree. An old-fashioned telephone. An old-fashioned... At its peak, the globe is from this period. Stories, adventures, and fairy tales. Shakespeare, drama, the Encyclopedia Britannica, Bibles, and religious... A large double-winged door. It's locked.
Inspector, you have no reason to be here. This door is to remain closed.
Certainly. Why is she making such a big deal about this door? A few teaspoons. They're all well polished and lined up in a neat row. I'm just gonna take a... The silver spoon is weighed. Two little metal pots. Judging by the layer of dust, they're no longer used. No. Well, there ain't many dishes for such a big... A coffee grinder is the last thing I'd have expected in an English castle, but it looks really new and unused. That's for hanging up meat. Or playing pirate. Oh, excellent. Transylvania maybe somewhere. The door is bolted. Might lead to a storeroom. An empty vase. It looks old, like everything here. You can't really make out anymore. Perhaps it's a kitchen range that could really... A pair of old rubber boots. The rubber boots were standing in the kitchen. Hello.
Oh, hello. A living soul, here?
My name is Falk, Inspector Falk. I'm a policeman.
A copper? How exciting. I'm Sally.
Do you know this woman?
Never seen her before. Looks a bit like a snob.
I don't suppose there are pictures of all the cooks who have worked here by any chance.
No idea. Must be ages ago, though, since there was an actual cook. Ask Bates, he knows everything.
I'd prefer not to ask either him or Lady Victoria.
Then I don't know either.
You and Bates look after everything here?
Well, looking after. Bates does most of that. He lets me do all the dirty work, cleaning, cooking, and all that sort of thing.
Isn't that your job?
That's what he says all the time. But being honest, I'd expected something quite different, you know? I mean, a castle with such knobs living in it. You'd expect the odd soiree every now and again.
Or, cute prince.
Well, Charles is off the market now. But anyone under 80 would do this place a world of good. Sometimes it really does seem like a grave here.
What can you tell me about Lewis?
A disgusting man. Ugh. I was hoping when I started he wouldn't be a snob like all the others are here. But he's just as boring and in a permanent bad mood. I never get more than 3 words out of him.
Do you know what's behind the locked door in the hall?
I've asked myself that question too. But you can't get a thing out of Bates about it. Once, he caught me listening at the door. He gave me such a telling off, like nothing I'd ever known before. He was so mad, he nearly collapsed. He was coughing blood and I had to hold him up. I've been giving the door a wide berth since then.
I've got to find out what's behind that door. The rooms there would be an ideal hiding place for one of the mosaic tiles. Is Lady Victoria a good boss?
I don't know. Bates hardly lets me talk to her. When I first came here, I made her ladyship a few suggestions on how she might want to redecorate the castle a bit. Just get rid of a bit of the mustiness, you know? Since then, I always have to ask Bates if I want something from her ladyship.
What's wrong with Lady Eleanor?
What could be wrong with her? Snore. Sits around all day, either knitting or reading.
Anything else?
She plays piano for Lady Victoria every now and again. In this house, that counts as having a wild party. You know, it's about time I got myself another position.
You want to leave?
Yeah, sooner rather than later. Maybe to a movie or a pop star's house. Somewhere where things are a bit lively at least.
Can you tell me anything about Samuel's ghost? Apparently it's been seen by a few tourists.
Oh yeah, I've seen it too. Out one of the windows. It scared the living daylights out of me. A gruesome face. I hope I'll never see it again.
Huh. That's true. At which window?
I don't remember exactly. I think it was in the Forbidden Wing.
Forbidden Wing.
Yeah, you know, what's behind the locked door in the hall.
Okay. I won't keep you from your work any longer.
Ah, don't worry about it.
It's locked. An antique vase or carafe. An old-fashioned I can't make out from here whether they're real gas lamps or electric lamps. Anywhere else, I'd be absolutely certain that there wouldn't be real gas lamps hanging from the ceiling. Not here. So much for the nakedness in England. 4 naked girls at once here. And the chap they're all entertaining really seems to be enjoying it. So much for the So much for the nakedness in England. The door is locked. The door. A pile of towels. Small ones, big ones. A pile of towels. I wonder what was going on with that mirror down there in the hall. I really thought I saw Samuel Gordon. I'll probably collapse of exhaustion when this is all over. I look tired. What an effort it must take to keep this old tiled floor so clean. The floor is more than... That is so comfortable. A bench in a bathroom. Jeez. A chandelier in a bathroom. Curtains in the bathroom. Oh well, to each their own. Lots of roofs, alcoves, walls. I wonder how many rooms the castle has. You could easily hide mums. Powder, makeup, and so on. A lion's head. I think the was a symbol of the immortality in ancient times. An old fact. I can't see anything unusual, apart from the fact that the plug is a tap like any other. It's running. A pile of towel. The rubber boots was the silver spoon is a piece of thread about Apparently, these things are to blame for the English still driving on the left. If you were to guide your horse with your right hand, you'd run the risk of being squashed between the wagons. Judging by its condition, the car was probably in use up until The floor here is rain-sodden and very muddy. The floor here is an ancient well. I can't imagine that it's still in use. Even this place must have a normal water. There used to be some sort of... Who have we got here? Huh. This thieving magpie in a raven suit has something I need. I bet the raven stole the piece of mosaic from Angelina's backpack and brought it here to its nest. I'm sure the raven would love this shiny spoon. If I just put it down somewhere, he'll get it and fly straight back to the nest. I wouldn't have enough time to get the piece of mosaic, and I'm sure he's not gonna give it to me in gratitude for the spoon. I knotted the spoon to the thread. You're not gonna free that in a hurry. Let's try it. Look at this! A shiny spoon! An old wooden ladder. It seems to be used. Like that at all. I gotta be careful. Ravens have got hard beaks that are sharp as knives. They can really make a mess of you. Excellent. Angelina's mosaic piece. Piece of mosaic for a spoon. A good deal for me. And now the boots look like boots. That's probably the Gordon's family coat of arms. I don't know anything about heraldry. There are complicated rules about creating and reading coats of arms. It probably means something like, we are a very old family. The gate was the best of British technology. At least it used to be. Lewis told us. drove from the castle to the crime scene this morning. What are they doing? Hey, Lewis.
You again? I thought you'd been thrown out.
Lady Victoria gave me permission to have a look.
How nice. What do you want?
What can you tell me about the castle?
Nothing. A big, ugly building.
With an overgrown garden.
What have I got to do with that?
Aren't you the gardener?
My garden's a few 100 miles west of here.
In Wales.
That's right.
So you just do the bare minimum here, if at all.
The garden's too big for one man alone, and what's the point in looking after it? This whole place is doomed. The house is falling apart. The lady won't live for much longer, and Bates is as good as dead.
You're hoping that Lady Eleanor will return to Wales when Lady Victoria does.
Perhaps.
That's,
Certainly is. The only decent surprise here. I discovered it behind the stables, built it back up from scratch. My father used to work on a car like this, and he taught me quite a bit.
Do you sometimes take it out for a spin? To the coast, for example?
I drive the ladies. They used to still have bloody horses in the stable, but looking after them was too much effort for the old folks. Now, this is the only pair of wheels. But the ladies don't leave the house much at all. Bates usually walks to the village. He says it's good for his health. But every time it takes a bit longer.
You weren't at the coast with the car this morning.
No.
What can you tell me
If you
about...
want to know something about Lady Eleanor, then you better ask Lady
You
Eleanor.
mean she's...
She threw everything away and fled here in a mad rush after Sir Richard died. Who does such a thing?
The castle and the garden in Wales reminded her of her dead husband.
And she should have thought of the family history. You don't just give up an house where generations have lived and worked.
How did her husband die?
He blew himself up, did all kinds of strange experiments. In the last years, he became obsessed with uncovering the secret of what drove Sir William and his sons insane. He hardly left his lab anymore, and collapsed in exhaustion more than once. Her ladyship was very worried.
Bates seems to be very tired.
He's terminally ill. The doctors say it's a miracle he's still alive. But let me tell you, Bates will kick the bucket on the very same day that Lady Victoria dies. Like a dog that follows its master. I think he just finds it unfitting to die.
He says he's worked for the Gordons for more than 70 years, and
I'd believe that at the drop of a hat. No one knows the castle and garden better than him. But when it gets to his own bonds, he's getting forgetful. A loyal soul. That's why they've given him Sally, I think.
I met Sally.
The only one in the castle who's not at least 100 and starting to decay.
Is she a good housekeeper?
She's lousy.
She often seems to be in trouble with Bates because of that.
He's the one that chose her, and turned away much better candidates.
Why did he do that?
Yeah, if you're worried about being replaced.
Then you chose the worst possible replacement to stay indispensable yourself.
That's how it is.
Lewis, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, the reputed ghost. They besieged us for weeks on end, a whole pack of them completely.
Lady Eleanor said she gave you the option of going back home to Wales, and even offered some money to get you set up.
I don't know what that's got to do with you.
I just find it strange. You desperately want to go back, and are even offered some money, too.
And then? Work as a caretaker in a new bloody housing estate? I've offered more than once to look after the castle in Wales and keep it in working order. But apparently there's not enough money for that.
So, it's not so much about going back to Wales. It's more about going back to your castle and your garden.
That's right.
What you really want is to turn back time. Unfortunately, that's never been possible. Well, see you later.
Not if I